To be here today with all of you to celebrate this momentous and historic introduction of the newly renamed Martindale Cole Student Services Center. I'm especially honored and humbled to be here with four extraordinary members of our university family, Larry and Susan Martindale, Don and Marcia Cole. I also want to welcome your supportive families who are here with us today and those that are watching from home. And to all who had a hand in making this a tremendous day, joining us to mark this occasion. A man who also led boldly at our university by his example, James Meredith, and his lovely wife, Dr. Judy Meredith. Thank you. And I would be remiss if I didn't take and introduce a special friend of mine and a chancellor who took this university to heights unknown, Dr. Robert Khayat. It's great to have you here, Robert. On the surface, today's about adding a name to a building, but everyone here knows the significance and the symbolism runs much, much deeper. Today is about honoring two distinct paths coming together, united in purpose and resolve. Today is about further committing to our core mission of serving all students. And today is about celebrating a meaningful reflection of who we are as a university in 2021. In the life of an institution as prominent and established as the University of Mississippi, you experience historical moments that define who you are. Sometimes the significance is revealed only after that moment has passed. Then there are other milestones that you are truly blessed to be able to recognize the magnitude of the moment as it is happening. These are the moments that allow you to affirm your values and priorities as an institution. This renaming is one of those moments for our beloved institution and university. Our arrival at this moment was forged through two divergent paths. One is the 50-year dedication of Dr. Donald Cole, who is a university student, professor, administrator, was a tireless and fearless advocate for diversity, equity, and students from all backgrounds. The other is the commitment of Mr. Larry Martindale, a distinguished alumnus from Atlanta, a former Ole Miss basketball player right here in this facility, and a longtime university supporter. During a campus visit, Larry was inspired to ask how he could help the university to project the powerful diversity that he was witnessing on campus. The convergence of their stories serves as a uniting and noble purpose in the life of the University of Mississippi. And it brings to mind a simple yet powerful quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. "I am who I am today because of the choices I made yesterday." Today we're reminded of the many choices and challenging paths we have traveled to arrive here today. And we're inspired and motivated by our forward momentum for the journey ahead and how our future students will build their legacies here. A Jackson native, Don Cole entered the university as a freshman in 1968. Not finding the university welcoming for students of color, he wanted to make things better. As a member of the Black Student Union, he presented administrators with a list of demands, calling for an end to overt racism, more opportunities for black students and staff, and the hiring of black faculty. In 1970, he protested at a campus performance of the traveling production, Up With People. Don was among 8 students who were arrested, spent 2 nights in Parchman, and were expelled by the university. No one would have blamed Don if he had never returned to our campus again. But he had unfinished business, ladies and gentlemen. After earning 2 master's degrees in mathematics from the State University of New York and the University of Michigan, he returned to complete a PhD in mathematics at Ole Miss in 1985. What followed was an amazing 25-year career at the university, where he served as a mathematics professor, program director, grant writer, assistant to the chancellor for multicultural affairs, chair of several university committees, and a trusted mentor to legions of students. And I'm going to say that last statement again, because maybe that's the most powerful one, Don. A trusted mentor to just legions and legions of students. While Don retired in January 2019, his legacy is seen, heard, and felt all across this institution each and every day because of the care that he modeled and embodied to help each student reach their full potential during their time at Ole Miss. So how fitting is it that the name now adorns this very building where so many students are going to go for support on our campus? I don't think there could be a better place at the University of Mississippi to see Don Cole's name than on a student services facility. Thank you, Don. We're so pleased that generations of current and future students will continue to have Dr. Cole's example shaping their education. This tribute ensures that his journey will always be remembered, will always be on full display, and will always be celebrated by our university. I'm going to read that one more time. I think it's that important. This tribute ensures his journey will always be remembered, will always be on full display, and will always be celebrated by our university. Another amazing aspect of this renaming is the heartfelt friendship and mutual admiration that has flourished between these two men and their families. It is truly inspiring to see them together, and all of this has emanated from the desire of the Martindales to represent the diversity at today's university in a new and powerful way. Larry, Susan, thank you. No other way to express it. Appreciate it so much. So much. At its core, this renaming is a testament to two extraordinary gentlemen, how they have shaped this place as a welcoming university. There's no more welcoming university in America than this place. And how their investments of time, talents, and treasure will ensure that we continue to be a university where everyone succeeds. The face of this university is personified here today in these two courageous and esteemed individuals. Please join me in a rousing round of applause and appreciation, gratitude, and admiration for Larry and Susan Martindale, Don and Marcia Cole. And now I have the distinct honor to introduce one of our most passionate alumni and extraordinary supporters. Larry Martindale may have graduated from Ole Miss decades ago, but his genuine love for this special place endured, and he has remained engaged in the life of our beloved university to this day, and I'm certain will remain forward. In fact, Larry and his wife Susan are well known for their ardent support and devotion to his alma mater and to the future of this alma mater. Simply put, Larry cares deeply, and we are incredibly grateful that he is a member of the Ole Miss family. Larry, please come and share a few words with us.
Chancellor, I wasn't expecting this. I'd been working on some things to say about what a special day this is and how it all came about, and I left it at your house. But let me just say, today is not about the Martindales. Today is about the Coles. The building, thanks to Robert Kyatt, was dedicated, the Martindale building, in 1998. So I had the honor of that. So I'm out of it today. Don is the recipient of this building, and he and I have gotten to know each other so well, and it was so easy to make that choice with the help of guidance of the university on whose name went up here. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to briefly just share with you a little bit about my journey. I'm a sharecropper's son from up in Salisbury, Tennessee, right across the line from Hopewell, Mississippi. And So I worked in the fields and there's two houses on the field. One was for blacks, one was for whites. And one of the kids was my age, was a black kid, and he and I connected. We milked cows every morning. Then we went and plowed the fields, played in the fields, worked. And then after that, we went and played basketball every day. And then we ate together and would get up and do the same thing the next day. Did it for 3 years. And so with that, and we kind of move around to different farms we did, mostly in that area. So, and then I went to Grand Junction to go to high school and went there through the 11th grade. And my father moved to Wilson, Arkansas, to a little big plantation over there to work. And I stayed that was the end of my sophomore year. I didn't want to go because I was having a good basketball event in Grand Junction. So the family, Wilson Dunn, invited me to stay there and live with them and play basketball my junior year. And I think I saw Nancy here. She was in the, I think, 6th grade at that time. And I wound up introducing her to one of my teammates that was 2 years younger than me, Rod Chambly. Introduced them, and they were married for years. So that's kind of the journey of back there. And then I go to Wilson, Arkansas, and graduate from there, 18 in my class, and did make the high school all-star team, and went over to Little Rock, and they introducing all the players, most of them going to some school in Arkansas. But when it came to me, they said, Larry Martindale, Ole Miss, and I got booed big time. I mean, big time. And they're supposed to interview us about 30 seconds after. I got 10 seconds in. So that's kind of the journey getting here. And then Eddie Crawford was the basketball coach here. And he started following me, I think, when I was at Grand Junction. But he came to Wilson, Arkansas my senior year and watched the game. I didn't know he was there. And but anyway, after it, he said, would you like to come to Ole Miss? I'd like to have you. I said, we got a deal. So that's how it started. And he said, come on down and visit. And I did, and I was blown away at the big trees and the beautiful buildings. And when you grow up on a farm, most of the land's flat. And I'd been on that my whole career. So this was a new world for me, and it has changed my life since. So it was great. And meeting all of the people, the friends that I've made here over the years that are still friends that I met my freshman year and we're still friends, it's just amazing. And so that journey's been great. And after college, well, I spent a couple of years in the Marine Corps, got out, and I always wanted to be a coach. But I had a call from one of the OX players, Mickey Williams from Missouri. He said, Larry, you need to come down to Atlanta. I'm working at the Waffle House. I didn't know what a Waffle House was. He said, come on down, I think it'd be a great opportunity for you. I said, well, I was going to go back to school and try to get my degree in coach. And he said, well, come on down and look at it, and I did. And I spent about a couple of weeks down there, and I finally got where I liked it. And there was 4 of us living in this apartment, and there's 4 Delta flight attendants living above us. So that put some encouragement into it, but nothing ever worked out on that. But so I did that, started in that, and then my career in that led into the other hospitality, hotel business, and all that, and went through and ended my career with the Ritz-Carlton. So that's my journey in hospitality business. Matter of fact, I changed my business cards because they got fancy and they have these fancy titles on them, you know. I just changed mine. I'd keep them if I needed some at a certain time, but that wasn't often. I put coach on it, you know, and what I was doing was coaching. All I had to do is recruit, have a game plan, and execute. And so I just turned my career into coaching. So, and it was great. Then Eddie Crawford invited Susan and I to the M Club meeting in 1985. And I hadn't been to one before. It was a reunion. And that's when I met Robert Kyatt, 1985 with Eddie Crawford at the M Club meeting. And we became good friends over the next 10 years. He was a law professor at that time. And it was great. And then in 1995, when he became chancellor, and because my mother had been telling me, you got to pay for your scholarship, you know. And she thought it was a loan. I had to tell her it wasn't a loan. I said, and she hit me hard on it. And so did that. So I said, Susan, I said, well, let's go meet with Robert now. He's a chancellor. We met you real soon after that to go over your plan. And we met with him, and he showed me his agenda and goals, what he was trying to accomplish. And it was over my head when he said, talking about the money he wanted to raise over the next 5-10 years. I said, can't help you in that. But it can help you in fixing this place up, because we learned it in the Ritz-Carlton, is the price is set at the entrance. And our resorts, and I consider this a resort. And so we did that, and I said, so I'll help you. And he showed me his budget on landscaping. He didn't have much. So I said, we'll help you get it going. And we never talked a dollar figure. And that lasted for 2 years of landscaping, getting everything done, entrances built where you know, and pride of owner. I said, no, this is going to help you accomplish that, and your enrollment's going to go up. And I think, didn't it work out? Yeah. So that's my journey with him. And the building was never discussed. I didn't come in and say, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars and I want my name on the building. That was never discussed. And after we'd been doing this 2 years, he came to Susan and I said, we'd like to put your name on the building. So that's how it happened. And then after a while, of course, we were so honored, but after a while, Susan and I got thinking about, we really need to put that building to work to help the university moving forward, to represent who it is today and tomorrow. And that's when we came to the conclusion of we needed an African American's name on it. And because I would sit in there, my old shorts and tennis shoes on, and I watched the families come in, and they're all uptight, you know, financial aid, and one day there was 2 white couples, 1 black couple, and they were giving the tour, and I just observed them, and it was stress on them. But they're getting ready to start their tour. They give tours around here, and I've seen them doing that, but I've never followed one. But I followed this tour. Went all around up through there, and it got to the Meredith statue. And they did a fabulous job on explaining the history, his history, and all that. And that's when I said, ooh, we got to put a black person's name on it. Susan and I talked about it, and then we got with the administration, and guess what? Well, that's when old Don Cole's name started popping up. And got to know him and Marcia and all that, and it was a journey to get it done, but it's done, and I want to thank Chancellor for you getting it over the goal line. And because this building represents who Ole Miss is today and tomorrow, the future. That's about all I can say.
Oh, so stay right here with me. We'll get Don up here in just a second. Robert, Larry, thank you for America's most beautiful campus. It's really, really special, as we all know. Thank you. It's the greatest attraction to students that we possibly could have. Before we hear from Dr. Cole, I'd like to invite Don to join us up here. We're going to cut the ribbon and usher in a new era of student services at Ole Miss. Larry and Don are the bookends of this historic moment, and it's only appropriate to have Dr. Cole close us out and usher our university forward in just a minute. So, we'll come over here in the middle, Don, you and Larry. I'm going to put the two of you together, Larry.
Oh,
I'll put the two of you together and see if the two of you can hold this.
I didn't overdo it.
You did a beautiful job. Beautiful. Wow, just when you can't think that this day can get any better, we now have the pleasure of hearing from one of our most beloved people in our university community. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I told him to leave his camera home today. Simply put, today's honoree, Dr. Donald Cole, is a difference maker and a universally respected icon. It's special how Don is able to use his charisma, his wisdom, and love of people to create and also model changes in ways that earns the deep respect of people all across this university and beyond. He has the heart of a servant, and we're so appreciative of that, grateful for that. We're also grateful that Don and his wonderful wife, Marcia, have gifted our university with their friendship, faith, leadership, and commitment to opening doors and opportunities for all. Always ready to laugh, but incredibly thoughtful when he speaks, I'm honored to invite Dr. Don Cole to share a few thoughts with us as we close out our celebration.
God bless you now. You can feel it in the air. You can see it in your surroundings. You can sense it in your presence. Something historic is happening here today at the University of Mississippi. It's almost divine, and I am so pleased that so many of you all decided to be a part of this historic event, those that are in presence, as well as those that are virtual also. To all who are present here, my family, my church members, my faculty, my staff, my colleagues, my friends, those who I've worked with over the years, and probably an enemy or two. This renaming is an extremely special occasion to me and my family. Larry Martindale just gave the context of how this moment came about. And I have to admit, I learned much. There are many who are more famous than I, have better name recognition than I, and equally qualified than I. But when people ask me, how did this happen? How did this come about with regard to you? I simply just resort to what my wife says when she's asked the same thing. It's a God thing. In years to come, boys and girls will enter this building in preparation of their collegiate career before moving on as women and men on to professions that will cure the diseases of their generations and aid in the equalization of world resources. Many will help mankind in their generations to come. But before they begin their illustrious careers, they will look up and query about those names. Who is Martindale? Who is Cole? They will research the archives and discover that Larry Martindale was a student at the university, and he played basketball in this very building, graduated and went on to become a successful businessman. These smart students will research even further to discover the Martindale's passion for humanity and their love for the university. And some bright student, don't know if it's a male or a female, but they'll research the name Donald Cole and discover that he too went to the University of Mississippi and that the two men almost overlapped, but each one went their separate ways. They traveled independent roads, and it was the love for this university that would have their paths to cross again, culminating in today's ceremony. The students will research, and they'll find some surprising outcomes in their research. They will discover that the renaming of this building was an academic cutting-edge phenomenon that took the educational world by storm. And other universities and other institutions would soon follow suit. Ole Miss was in the lead and not on the bottom. Now I'll ask you to ponder whether those young, bright, energetic students are part of your future genealogy, but know that this building will attract many students to the University of Mississippi. So then, I want you to join me in praying that this Martindale Cole Center will employ what I'm terming the Cole-Martindale principle. That's a principle that embraces inclusion, values diversity, and demands equity. Ralph Waldo Emerson stated that principle this way in a lecture back in 1871 when he uttered the words, "If a man could write a better book or preach a better sermon or build a better mousetrap than his neighbor, then even if he were to build his house in the woods, the world would make a beaten path to its door. That is to say, if you have what the people want, the people will seek you out no matter where you are. So then, to this end, Larry Martindale, Don Cole, James Meredith, and Robert Kyatt, and everybody else charged the keepers of this center to apply that Cole-Martindale principle to this building. Apply it, if you will, by writing a better book. And you do that when you become a beacon of light that brightens the path for the marginalized, helping and giving that helping hand to those without adequate resources. So we charge that this building will, if you will, preach a better sermon by housing and comforting generations of students yet unborn who will contribute to the equity of our society in ways that we've yet to imagine. We charge that this building will build a better mousetrap by going the extra mile to help graduate that student who otherwise will feel homeless on this campus and would likely drop out. And finally, we charge that the Cole-Martindale principle will allow this center to give a collective voice to those many students who would otherwise have been silent, not heard, and not appreciated because of their stature. Furthermore, and as I close, we ask blessings upon this center, upon all who shall enter her doors, upon those generations to come who will partake in her services, learn within her hallowed halls, and be given academic nourishment. To this building and to all of you, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. The sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall softly upon her. And may God hold her and you in the hollow of his hand. We thank you all for coming, and we thank Larry and Susan Martindale for the blessings given to Marcia and I and my family with this honor to endeavorably associate the Martindale and Cole's name together throughout history and perpetuity. I now call upon the Chancellor Boyce to come and close us out. Thank you so very much.
Okay, I'd like to ask everybody if they think that we made the right decision. Pretty easy decision to make.
I want to thank everybody for joining us for a magnificent day and a historic day in the life of our university that will be celebrated forever. Before we gather inside the building for the reception, how about one last round of applause for these two extraordinary gentlemen? Please join us inside for the reception and fellowship. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Good job.